good evening, and welcome to Coffee and Tea with Aeson and Natalie. How are you, honey child?
I'm doing quite well, thank you, sir. How are you?
It's cold, it's January, my RA is flaring up, and I moved my kitchen around yesterday, so I feel like I got ran over by a steam engine and rolled backwards.
I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I've been cautiously doing things
Uh-huh.
because I'm feeling good physically and I don't want to do anything that could potentially ruin that. Now that doesn't mean that I'm like saying, "Oh no, I'm not going to do any work because of that." It's just I'm
Mm-hmm.
being very mindful of everything that I'm choosing to do and when I'm choosing to do it. It's like, do I have the strength to stand over the sink for 2 hours washing those by hand? Not currently, but I do have the energy to like move this load of laundry around and fold those towels. So I'm going to do
Yeah.
that.
Well, and that's understandable, that's manageable. Hi, Brenda. Me and you got into a conversation the other day, because you had hit a good spring, and I'm like, okay, what'd you eat? You know,
Yeah, or what didn't I eat or something? I don't know.
yeah. Well, it was actually this. It's a pain theory thing. They have tracked pain and sugar to be pain. Technically, sugar causes pain. Pain causes sugar cravings.
Yes, like inflammation as well.
Uh huh. Yeah,
It's all part of the thing.
yeah, and things like processed foods that, of course, are laden with sugar and sucrose and corn sugar specifically
Yeah.
cause a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
So when you said you had an upswing, I'm like, cool. So what'd you eat? Did you
Yeah, what
remember
did you
your
do?
turmeric? What did you do? Where are we at? You know, and then, So since I've seen you, I got a washer and dryer. Well, apparently that made my refrigerator jealous. So it died.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it
Oh,
died of a heartache.
oh
So I
dear.
got a new one and thought I'd gotten the exact same one,
But you didn't.
but I didn't. And then they got here and couldn't flip the door, so I had to change the whole kitchen around after moving the whole pantry to make it into a laundry room again. So
Just to
my
make
body's
room.
going, "You're an idiot, and I'm going to aggravate you today."
Yep.
Mhm. Oh.
I'm
And
just
then I've
burning the
been
bay leaves.
ah, and then I've been paying attention to this Earth heartbeat thing. That's quite
Yes.
interesting.
And solar flares. And I read something briefly, like sped Reddit,
Uh huh.
that scientists believe that the core of the Earth is slowly starting to slow down so that it can start moving in its opposite direction.
It's already occurred, honey.
Has it?
Yeah, it
Well,
slowed down in
they're
two.
looking for proof of it or something along those lines.
They're
And I
trying
was
to
like,
figure out
well,
why.
yeah,
Yo, Shannon. Hello, Brenda
Brenda.
Brand. Yeah, Brenda and
Brenda
Brenda.
Bone.
Yeah, Brenda Bone. And then Jim. But yeah, it slowed down around 2009 and then recently reversed directions, which is common. Like she spins one way inside, she spins the other way.
Right. It's a centrifuge. When
Yeah,
something speeds up one way, the rubber band's gotta unwind and go the opposite direction. It's like one of
right.
those little pulley toys. You spin it up one
Mhm.
way and then you pull it and it just keeps going forwards and then backwards and then forwards and then backwards.
Right. Yeah. So, we've got these two things going on earthly. Then you mentioned solar flares. And I'm like, okay, how much is hitting the psychic spectrum at this point? And that's what I've decided to start calling it, the psychic spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all vibration, energy, magnetism, and everything else.
I know that a lot of us in whatever spiritual circle you walk in doesn't really matter. A lot of us tend to look at our energetic shifts based on like lunar movements
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. Like some people who feel absolutely trash tired during new
Mm-hmm.
moons and then they cannot sleep at all during a full moon. I know some people who are quite the opposite, who are
Mm-hmm.
absolutely exhausted and drained during full moons, and then during new moons they are just wired. Um, but I also, and even Jason and I have noticed that whenever solar flares shift or Schumann resonant, like the Schumann
Right.
numbers start shifting, that we get massive migraines,
Uh-huh.
like massive ones.
Right.
And all of us are in like the same chat, and all of us kind of at the same time are all moaning and groaning about like, our
Mm-hmm.
heads feeling like they're going to implode, not explode. It's like there is so much pressure from the outside
Uh-huh.
energy that's pushing inwards that's how it feels. It's not like an inside out migraine. It's coming from the outside in.
Right.
So it definitely feels like it's like an outside energy that's like pushing our noggins.
Right.
Jimmy feels wrecked. He could not sleep at all last night. Well, that sucks, dude. I'm usually
Mm.
up until like 3 a.m. You could have just sent me a message.
Yeah. And Brenda Bone is having a chair day also. I'll join you
Look
in
at
that.
that.
Yeah. Hmm.
I've got to
Now,
follow up on Monday or something like that. I've got to follow up since I had my epidural done in my middle of my spine, and that was
uh-huh.
an experience that I would much rather not do again.
Have they done the Botox injection yet?
No, not yet. I think what I had a sneak peek at my online medical file, and it looks like they want to do nerve testing, like an
Uh-huh.
EEG,
Yeah.
to see like what's going on nerve wise.
Okay.
Um, which I'm like, that's totally fine. And it was like, and they were gonna
Okay.
do muscle testing as well. And when I saw a couple days ago, because I saw that they were going to discuss this with me,
Mm-hmm.
that they were going to do muscle testing, I kind of chuckled and laughed to myself, and I was like, "Huh, wasn't Aeson's guest just the other day talking about that muscle testing
Right,
and
but
how it
this is
relates to blockages
different.
in the body?"
Uh-huh. But
And I
the
was like,
one they're going to do is different than what
I
my
know, but
guest
I'm
was
still
talking
going
about.
to pay attention to how my body reacts during things, because I
Yes.
definitely feel like that's going to give me a little bit of signals into like other things.
Oh, yes. But no, the one they'll do is they implant needles in
Yeah, I know. I've
your
had I've had this one done before.
okay.
I've had
It's
it done
real
before.
fun.
When I had my cervical spine collapsed, they did
Mm-hmm.
it. Just to kind of see where in my neck or like mid shoulder range this problem was really like where it was really stemming from before they went in and started doing epidural
Mm-hmm.
injections, which ultimately failed within 2 weeks, and then I was rushed off for surgery. But I remember when they did it, I felt like a living, and I felt, I mean, forgive me for saying this, I felt like a living Frankenstein's monster,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm standing there and all these little probes are making me move completely involuntarily. And I was like, I don't
Uh-huh.
like this. I don't like this at all. Stop it. Stop. Nope. Stop. Don't. And it's like, my fingers were moving on their own, and there was nothing that my brain could do to consciously make it stop. And that was unnerving for me. I was like, oh, I have no control over my body right now. This is not okay.
Yeah.
Um, but ultimately it resulted with me ended up having to have surgery in my spine, so that was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not going there. We've already told the doctors that is not an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've never seen one work fully and maintain the level of existence. Um, and with mine, it would be a cage surgery. And I'm like, no, thank you. I have enough dead people coming in and out of my house. I do not need a new one living with me.
Yeah, I kind of joked around before I realized that I was psychic. I joked around that I had a dead man living inside my body whose name was like Edgar or something, and he would say things like whippersnappers and get off my lawn and like keep every
Mm-hmm.
single ball that landed in his like lawn in his yard area. And
Uh-huh.
while I will say, and I will say this, the
Mm-hmm.
surgery that I had in my neck saved my life.
Right.
And even when I say that, I get kind of joked up because it did. The amount of pain that I was in prior to it was obscene. It was
Mm-hmm.
obscene, the amount of pain I was in. Like, I would have much rather pulled out my own teeth than experienced what I was physically experiencing on a daily basis. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember waking up after having this massively invasive, even though it doesn't look like it on the outside, this massively invasive procedure where I'm having pieces of me removed and then having cadaver bone put in my body and then titanium plates and screws to hold it in place. That
Mm-hmm.
is a traumatically, like, that's a big deal, right?
Right.
So I joke around, even though I don't know where the cadaver bone came from. I joke
Mm-hmm.
around that it was a cantankerous old man who didn't like children or cats, and had
Mm-hmm.
a whole had a whole attitude and
Right.
personality, which
Right.
is the complete opposite of who I am. But I'm like, somewhere
Right.
in me, and there
Mm-hmm.
is an energy
Right.
that.
Right. So I thought since it seems like everyone's either hurting or have been hurting, I thought we would talk pain and psychic pain versus physical pain, but also in
Oh,
that, ways to control the pain.
oh, psychic
Um,
pain. That's a fun one.
yeah.
That's
Hey,
a
Amy.
fun one.
Yeah.
Hey, Marissa.
Yeah.
I know it
So
says Consuela B. Hammock, but it's Marissa.
thank you. I'm a, you were about to get nicknamed again. Um, because I feel like nobody talks about the psychic pain that goes on. And when I say
Yeah,
psychic pain, it is pain that you swear is physical but isn't here,
yeah,
isn't yours. You're
yeah.
not a hypochondriac. You go into a room, a person in the room has a migraine. By the time you walk out of that room, your head is splitting.
Okay, can I
Yes.
Marissa, my darling, Marissa is probably the perfect example of this.
Mm, right on
Um
time, Marissa.
one morning, I woke up blissfully unaware of what was coming my way. And it was like the very first thing I thought was somebody has a toothache.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, my mouth hurts, but my mouth doesn't hurt. Who has a toothache? And I flicked through, like, I opened up my messenger, and it was like, you know how you see the little face bubbles on Messenger, like who's online?
Right.
And I saw Marissa's face, and she was the first person that I clicked on, and I was like, good morning. Random question. Do you have a toothache?
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God. She's like, how did you know? And
Did
she's like,
you
I
not
woke
read
up
the
and my
profile?
mouth is killing me. And
Yep.
it's like, I woke up and I just knew one of my friends, someone that I knew somewhere in the world that I recently connected with, has a massive toothache. And I can
Mm-hmm.
feel it, and it sucks for them. And it hurts me. Like, I was about ready to go get some clove oil.
Uh-huh.
Or like bite down on something and do counter pain because it was like uncomfortable. Like, I had a weird throbbing in my face. And sure enough,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you need to go to the doctor and go to the dentist and go get that thing checked out, because that to me doesn't feel good. So if it doesn't feel
Right.
good for me, I can only imagine what that feels like for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, I know what psychic pain is like. I experience it on a regular basis, especially during mediumship when someone is telling me how they passed.
Yes. And that's the one you have to
Ooh,
watch for,
even now
especially
I'm getting
for
like a little twinge in like my chest area. Stop it.
yeah.
No, thank you.
Especially like heart arrhythmia, especially if you start picking that up, you don't want to take it in.
I used to have a heart murmur, which self-healed when I was like in my early 20s. And occasionally, whenever I come across an energy that is crossed over that either had they had extreme life-saving measures placed upon them, like CPR or an electric shocks to the chest to to jumpstart their heart. So I will get that weird like cardiac arrhythmia that I used to get with my heart murmur, where one of my atrial valves would stay open for a little bit and then it would like kind of flutter closed again to get back into rhythm again. And I would feel it all the time. And it was kind of, nerve-wracking. But occasionally I will get that with like shooting pains that go from like under my armpits into the middle of my chest. If I've had people who have had like throat issues or throat cancer. And it has felt like I've had like thumbs placed in like the middle of my throat where I can't speak or swallow or breathe right. I've been given huge waves of nausea from people who suffered from like long-term either like cancer treatments or were in long-term care, and nausea was present because of either medication or the illness that they were fighting. So I've experienced a lot of stuff.
Right. Yeah. No, Amy, we're talking about in general.
Mary Thomas. No. We don't do that here.
Yeah, Mary Thomas, enjoy your trip to the other side.
I was like, oh no, honey, we don't do that in these shows. No.
No.
That's not what we do here.
Yeah, not allowed. Sorry,
That's
it's our
not how
show.
we do things.
You want to do your own show, get your own followers.
Yeah, like try again somewhere else, but not here.
Right.
Just not here.
Right. So that all comes and stems and goes. And then, you have the other, what I call psychic pains. It's like because you are sensitive, the parameter switches. Your head feels like it's going to implode. You go into a room and someone has a migraine. And you're like, dear God, someone needs to get the coffee and the Tylenol passed out.
Yep. Like now.
Like I'll just take the Tylenol.
Or I'm just going to leave this entire situation because I can't do this right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Walmart, like any place where there's large crowds.
Which we hate.
That, not just like anxiety, but overwhelming, but physical pain. Like I end up getting flare-ups, typically like short-term flare-ups. While I'm in there. Or I'll tend to get achier while I'm in there. Not only that, but my patience runs out like super quick. Like I have no patience from the time that I park, even though I'm like, I'm going to be calm. Everything's going to be fine. You're going to walk in, get what you need to walk out. No, full well that is not what's going to happen.
Right. Well, in my opinion and in my viewpoint, they invented Walmart pickup for the psychic so that we don't have to deal with it. We don't have to deal with the unkept barbecue that apparently thinks that they should be able to, like, I don't know, come home with us. We don't have to, or that we should parent them because, their parents obviously are not parenting them. We don't have to deal with the ones that are screaming because no one fed them before they came to the store. Or they don't have a babysitter to take care of them.
So they're picking up on all that stress and all that anxiety right when we're walking past them.
Or they're running up to us because they see our light and start talking. Some of the weirdest conversations I've ever had is in a Walmart. The second weirdest is in the doctor's office because apparently it says, tell me your story somewhere on the blinky non-visible sign.
I had that experience in Walmart 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I had that experience. There was a lovely. Oh, I wanted to cry and hug this woman. I really did. Like, I just, like, every piece of me wanted could feel so
Mm-hmm.
much heartbreak around her. I could just feel it. You know, I just wanted to hug her. But, you
Right.
know, it's Walmart and it's not really appropriate to just like offer to hug strangers at this
Not
day and age.
normally.
Not normally. You know, it's not always received very well, even though I'm sure she would have received it.
Mm-hmm.
It's still not, it's not okay to just like cross that boundary. But this woman seemed like so frustrated, and even though she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't doing anything in the aisle, I walked past her and I stopped and looked and I was like, do you need help finding something? I was like, I don't work here, but like, what are you looking for? And she's like, she goes, you know, I have been in this aisle for an hour and I've asked probably 5 people where something is, and they've all told me it's down this aisle, but I will be darned, I can't find it. And I was like, okay, well, what is it? And she tells me what it is. And I went, 1 second. And I walked over and I went, do you want the 97-cent pack or do you want the 3.97-cent pack? And she goes, I'll take the 97-cent pack. And she took it. She goes, I should pay you for this. And I was like, you don't need to pay me for anything. It's just like, you just saved me standing in here for another hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, all I wanted to do was play cribbage with my friends. It's just like, that's all I wanted to do was come in here and get a pack of cards.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I asked for help multiple times, no one was there to help me. And then poof, here you are, and you went right to it and handed me the cheapest, saved me like an extra $2.50.
Right. And that happens.
Glad
and,
I could help.
Yes. Glad I could help. Have a great day.
Yeah. And it's like I get drawn to the right people who they like. Suddenly I will make one comment about something that they're wearing or an item that they picked up, and I'm like, oh, that's a really good flavor or whatever it is, you know, because that's just the Libra rising in me. I got to make a weird comment about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they immediately turn around and then blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, I was just saying that was a tasty bag of chips. I didn't need to hear about the reason why you picked them up or the reason why your son got you hooked on them or because
Right.
I don't need to know that like your daughter's new girlfriend requested them for their next stay. I don't need to know that.
Right. Right. It's just like,
but I'm glad that you feel like I'm a safe enough space for you to spill your tea with me.
Can we discuss this? When do we get our safe spaces? You know,
we are each other's safe space. That's what the chat houses are for, Aeson.
Well, that's what the tea houses are for. But, you know, people are like always into that. And it's like, would you just enough?
I do have moments where I want to unload without divulging information about, you know, my client's situation because that's personal and private. But there are pieces that can affect us or can't even be triggering for us, even though we're helping people wade through the chaos of life that we've already walked through.
Yes. Normally
it can
twice
still be
because we
difficult
missed them
for
the
us.
first time. It can be. But, you know, when we look at the physical side of things, it takes a little bit more work, a little bit more challenging for us to balance out the, okay, I need to take care of this, and this, but at the same time, no, right now is not a good time to go, or you know, that type of thing.
Exactly.
And then, you know, you have the physical pain, which occurs because every second I met, either medium I've met, and I even talked about this the other night on the show, they have an immunity complex. They have spinal difficulty. The higher they get into the spiritual realm, the lesser the body becomes useful.
Because we're using the mind and not the body.
Well, not only that, but we're in the other plane for so long, the body, you know, begins to think that we are no longer in need of it. And it's like a car.
You don't use it, it stops working.
Yep. You know, so, you know, all my little psychic friends I get on to about, have you got up and moved? Did you do your yoga? Did you do your exercise? I don't give a damn about your meditation, because if you're going to sit there and do meditation, that isn't helping you.
Yeah, that's not going to help you physically. That's going to help you mentally and spiritually. But what's that going to do for your arthritis? Nothing.
People do not like my opinion on this sitting up, lotus position meditation thing.
I lay down and meditate.
Yeah, I'd rather you get up and go walk a mile.
Sometimes you get your most divine thoughts when you're in the midst of zoning out, doing
True.
nothing, mindless, but you're still being active. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah, go walk a mile.
Brenda, at the bottom, there's Venmo and Cash App
Mm-hmm.
posted for if you want to buy us a cup of coffee.
Yeah. Yes, there's.
And it gets split.
Yeah.
If you lay down and meditate, you always fall asleep. I keep a level of light up so that I don't do that. Well, I'm not like fully laying flat. I'm laying more in like a low reclined position.
Mm-hmm.
So to speak. So I'm not like laying flat, so I'm just gonna like nod off or anything like
Right.
that. But I find that if I do sit up, I tend to have more pain in my lower hips,
Mm-hmm.
just because of the issues that I have in my body.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, as try as I might, it's like I can't get my focus off of the fact that I feel pressure in my lower spine that I'm constantly wanting to shift back and forth from to find that comfy spot. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, if I'm constantly aware of my physical state, I'm never going to get to any state of meditation at all. But if I get myself in a position where I can actually like take a full deep breath without being in pain or actually like feeling pressure, then
Mm-hmm.
I find that I have more intense and more profound experiences that way.
Right. But, if you're moving and if your body's, you're letting the limbic brain do something. Because the limbic brain
Yeah.
in itself is just controlling your breathing. It makes sure you breathe. It makes sure you move. It makes sure you stay
It's something
upright.
that you don't control.
Right. That tends to do the mind a lot better, and does the body a lot better in meditation.
Yeah.
So you're able to get into a better focus. You're able to process more. You're able to do more on a larger scale mentally. That's why I'm like, well, I would prefer you to go walk a mile.
I had an amazing meditative experience, very short lived.
Mm-hmm.
It was very brief, and just the little clues that I was left with.
Mm-hmm.
It took Dottie and me to like kind of figure it out together, because I was like, this is the name that I heard, but everything that I have Google researched, I cannot find a god or goddess with that name the way that I heard it. So maybe
Okay.
there is a silent letter in there. And she
Okay.
and I kind of went through other Google searches, and it turned out that the person that I had the things that I drew plus the name, we figured out exactly who it was.
Mm-hmm.
And Dottie's like, that kind of makes sense that person would come to you. And I was like, doesn't it though? So yeah.
You teasing us again.
Yeah, Jimmy's like that balance between sleep and awake. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to maintain that sometimes. Sometimes your body's like, nope, I just want to go to sleep. And then it just powers off. You know what I mean?
Let's kind of, since that was brought up, I will talk about it in a minute. If you go asleep when you are meditating, that means you're not resting enough. You're not getting enough psychological sleep. So sleep more.
Yeah. Take a nap, wake up, and then meditate. See how you feel.
All right. If that works for you. So let's take a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about things you can prevent it.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Dottie the Psychic, and I'm sure you're wondering why I'm not wearing any makeup. Well, one reason is to irritate my social media manager, Aeson Knight. Hi, Aeson. The other reason is because I like to get to the naked truth about what it means to be a neurodivergent LGBT person with psychic abilities. I've got vlogs, blogs, and podcasts and videos all related to trying to live my best life and helping witches and bitches do the same thing. So, you can check all that out and get a reading from Dottie the Psychic at DOTTIE, thepsychic.com. Safe travel and much profit to you.
Do you have a cute pet? We know you do. Each week, Tracy Vann chooses from submitted photos a featured reader for her Facebook page and provides a tarot reading. Your adorable pet cat, dog, rabbit, goat, chicken, snake, or more could be her next featured reader. Visit tracyvann.com, TracyVann.com, and click Featured Reader to submit. We look forward to seeing your pet next.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here, and I am here to tell you how to get in contact with me and a little bit about what I do. I am the High Priestess that works with shadow work to help you grow and heal. And I work with access bars, Reiki, I do power forms. I'm recently getting into crystal healing, sound therapy as well. So you can go to Lady Gwendolyn Healing, that is LadyGwendolynHealing.com. Book your appointment with me. I do in person, I do over the phone, I do over Zoom. We can do that as well. My main goal is to help you grow and heal, because I've been there, I'm still going through it, and I let my strength help guide you. See you soon.
Hey everybody, Natalie here from The Pendulum's Path. If you are in need of guidance, direction, spiritual connection, healing, or more, you would come to the right place. I have worked as a psychic and a medium for over 3 years, connecting people from all over the world with their loved ones, giving them insight and guidance into their current situations, their past healings, their blockages, and what they need to know in order for them to have a better future. It would be my absolute honor if you would come to my website at www.thependulumspath.com. Visit my shop. I have a whole bunch of crystals, oils, balms, mystery boxes, and more. And visit my services. I offer 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute sessions. I also have email readings available if you're not comfortable with the one-on-one session with me, or if you just want to try me out. I encourage you to come visit me at the Pendulum's Path, and let's get you back on the right track today.
Right. Welcome back.
And here I am again.
Yeah. It's always fun. But
It's still every time I watch it, I'm like, that's just so weird to see. I don't know where to look when I see myself on the commercials. Like anytime I'm watching any of your shows and I see myself, I'm like, I don't know where I'm supposed to look. This is awkward.
right at yourself. All right. So
Bizarre.
yeah. So with that, let's talk about food. And this one's a trigger point for people because it's a few different types of food that will set you off.
Yes.
Or increase. But let's talk about things you should be taking in versus things you shouldn't be taking in. First one is water. Water flushes toxins out of your system.
Yes. Danielle has just launched herself into a brand new anti-inflammatory diet. And is doing inner to outer healing, which I'm really impressed with. How's the juicing going? Have you been juicing? I don't know if you've been juicing. I saw a juicer. Are you juicing?
What are you juicing?
Or what are you like? I saw juice, like a juicer. Are you juicing? I haven't been on my regular like thing, my regular Facebook in forever. So have you been juicing? Or blending things together like into like a liquid drinkable substance? And also I want to say like turmeric, because I see a big pile of turmeric.
That's probably what you're looking at is protein shakes.
The juicing is hard, but I'll keep going. Carrot juicing. Okay, that's what it is, carrot juicing. Yeah. Holy moly, 5 cups a day. Girl, you're going to get such a glow.
Your hair is going to grow.
Yes.
All right.
Which is also something that Danielle wants to have happen, is hair growth. Same.
2 tablespoons of peanut butter a day.
I can't stand peanut butter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I grew out of it. Like I like even during the like Halloween time when everyone goes absolutely bonkers for the Reese's cups, and I'm like, I don't get the appeal anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not a fan of them. I'm not a fan of peanut butter anymore.
Oh,
Call me Bart Simpson. I know. And I'm like, she knows what I'm talking about when I say you're going to have such a glow going on. Because, that beta carotene is going to start coming through your skin.
Yes, and you actually have to watch it. But anyhow.
Yeah.
So let's talk about foods to avoid. Some of them may seem weird. I have been preaching for a while about watching your processed sugar and preservatives. Sneaky foods is what I call them. Because they're not real food.
But even there are some natural foods that cause inflammation and cause problems as well that you got to stay away from as well.
Yes, you do.
Like there are just as many man-made irritants as there are natural irritants. It just depends on your body and how it processes it.
True. Very true. One of them being very importantly, is dealing with the level that occurs within tomatoes. And what's interesting with this one is it depends on, these are mass-produced tomatoes. Mm-hmm. These are not the tomatoes you would think that we're talking about here. If you take heirloom tomatoes, they don't have as much of its common ancestor, which is nightshade.
Mm-hmm. That's what Danielle just said. Yep, anything that's of the nightshade family really is going to cause inflammation. And then anybody who doesn't know anything about nightshades, there are some nightshades that are deadly, like deadly nightshades. So if tomatoes are a form or a ancestor or a genetic off branch of something that could technically kill you, do you not think that maybe it's causing some irritation inside of your body on some level?
Right. Now, see, I want to see what
I know, and I love tomatoes,
are.
Danielle. I love them. Like tomato on a sandwich is just, I love it. But I had an heirloom tomato, part of an heirloom tomato in my salad the other day, and I didn't notice hardly any pain at all or anything in comparison to like if I have like pizza sauce or spaghetti with a sauce or something like that. Yeah, your acid reflux is going to go up. People are going to have stomach issues on some capacity. You know what I mean? It's like even mouth irritations, like people will end up with like fissure tongues or geographic tongue flare-ups. Like my daughter has geographic tongue. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But there are certain foods that flare up her tongue. So we found out that increasing vitamin B12 and zinc helps to keep that level of inflammation down in that muscle, as well as magnesium. But magnesium you have to do such low levels because my daughter is so young that any high doses would just end up working as a stool softener to put it mildly. I was like, she would be in the bathroom for a very long time. Okay, so like there's like this fine level between taking magnesium for discomfort and then taking so much of it that it actually causes you to have intestinal cramps and causes you to have intestinal distress and you hate yourself.
Potatoes and potato starches.
Yeah, and I've done some looking into like the alkaline diets, and it's like our bodies are made up of mostly water. Water has a certain pH balance, so why aren't we eating foods to maintain that pH balance? Why are we eating things that's throwing off our pH and throwing us into either more acidic or throwing us into like more baseline? And that's messing us up all on the inside as well. It's like we're throwing off our pH balance. It throws off the balance of everything else inside the body.
Right. And then, you have eggplant, which no one cares about. I don't care for it. Never have cared for that.
I do. Baba Ganoush, I love eggplant.
No. Take Baba and put him in his noosh. And then, of course, peppers.
Yes. Anything capsicum. It's great.
Mhm.
It's great for muscle pain on the outside, not
Mhm.
on the inside. You don't like eggplant? Oh, I do eggplant.
It's
If it's cooked,
soggy.
if it's cooked correctly, it is. I like it.
Paprikas, pimientos, gingerberries, ground cherries. Which, by the way, did you know if you ground a cherry pit or a pea pit, you can
It's
make
got
a
enough
poison?
arsenic in it to kill you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a
It's the
reminder in case
consistency.
anybody needs to, go and nicely make a cherry pie for somebody.
And grind up the cherry pits and just feed it to the person that you don't like and let it do its work.
Exactly.
Oh, whoops. Did I grind up a cherry pit and put it in there accidentally? Maybe. I don't know. It was
I don't
accidental.
know. You can't, people have weird things.
Can't prove it. It was done intentionally.
Right.
Danielle's like, sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, everyone needs to make
Yeah.
cherry
Suddenly Danielle's coffee grinder starts going off in the middle of the night. Hey, babe, what you doing?
Yep. All right, guys, let's take another break and we'll be right back.
Daniel's like, I need a joy for a reason.
Welcome back, goblins! My name is Jason, and I am the host of the Esoteric Book Club, a podcast that examines titles on the magical, paranormal, the mysterious, and the strange. I release 2 episodes a month in which I review books on esoteric topics, recap news of the weird, and conduct interviews with authors, practitioners, and experiencers. The Esoteric Book Club can be found on every major podcast service or can be streamed directly from esotericbookclub.org.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I provide a blended reading consisting of mediumship, psychic, and tarot cards. A reading from me can cover any guidance you need from relationships with your partner or your family, spiritual, financial, any questions you may need clarity on. If you would like to book an appointment with me, check out my website, tracyvan.com. That's TracyVann.com. I have bookings from 15 to 60 minutes you may choose from. That helps if you just have a quick question, need an answer, or if you're looking for a reading in more depth, I'm here to provide the guidance and clarity for you. Let's just figure it out. Bye.
Hi, Techie Joe here. I work with Aeson Knight, some of the best psychics in West Virginia, to create amazing live streams and podcasts for the Psychic Coffee Shop Network. Together, we brew up great content discussing news, events, hot topics, and more, all from a psychic perspective. On the Psychic Coffee Shop, we interview amazing authors in the metaphysical realm. Coffee and Tea combines Aeson with Tracy, Dottie, Natalie, or Lady Gwendolyn for the good and the bad of being a psychic. Shameless Self-Promotion with Dottie the Psychic talks to leading and emerging YouTubers and business owners in our community. Mountain Bears brings you the latest in LGBT news and politics. The Psychic That Plans answers the question of, well, how a psychic plans. Plus, we're live on air. We take your comments and your questions, including psychic advice questions. Check out our amazing programming, book an appointment with top psychics, and find out all the wonderful things we have to offer at PCSBnetwork.com today.
Hi, I'm Aeson Knight. I provide tarot readings covering everything from love and relationships to your life questions and your most spiritual answers. And also, I provide a lot of guidance in finances and divorces and all those relationship problems. So, if you'd like to get a reading from me privately, not on air, you can feel free to do so by visiting aesonknight.com and booking your appointment. I also provide on-demand services, so if your life is a little chaotic, you can go ahead and click that call now button there on my site. Great for a quick answer question. All right, guys, back to the show. Enjoy. All right, welcome back. So, we talked about what we shouldn't be eating, what we shouldn't be doing. But
Sorry.
let's talk about what we should be eating. Of course, ginger. Ginger does an amazing thing for your body, and it's used in natural, traditional, i.e. Chinese medicine to help soothe pain. Blueberries, pumpkin seeds, salmon, which, by the way, only $1 has salmon. Delicious
I
salmon.
had
We
salmon. I had smoked salmon today for lunch.
Oh, very good, very good.
I do. I love smoked salmon. It's one of my weaknesses. It is a weakness. I can eat my weight in smoked in good cold smoked salmon. I could eat my weight in it, thinly sliced. Oh yes, that's my jam.
Of course, I'm sure you're killing the turmeric game.
Turmeric and honey tea, or in a tea, is really nice. Some people don't like the. Some people are like, turmeric doesn't taste like anything. A lot of people are like, it tastes like dirt. It does have a very earthy taste. Some people really don't like it, but adding it to your foods, just sprinkling even just a teaspoon onto things, on your rice, on your noodles, even in the water that you're cooking things in, adding it to chicken stock, even, not only does it add a beautiful golden color, but will also add the health benefits of it. So it's one of those. It's referred to as when it's put into a broth as like liquid gold. Like putting turmeric into a broth turns it into, quote, liquid gold. And the way that it works in your body is wonderful for not only pulling out toxins and pulling out like the negative crap that's in our body, but it helps to flush it out and keep our inflammation down, which is wonderful. And it's good for your joints as well.
Now, these other two I can get behind very goodly. Red wine and chocolate.
I'm sure you can. There are studies that have it saying that having like a glass, not a bottle, a glass, a standard normal size glass. We're not talking like the big chugging, like housewife sitting at home saying, I'm going to have a glass of wine, but it's going to be up to the freaking brim. Like, this is not a glass of wine. That is a glass of wine. It helps with keeping your heart healthy because it helps to thin your blood down so that things can flow a little smoother, so that things can process a little bit faster.
Right.
See, Melissa's like, I live for my turmeric supplement. See, she knows.
Turmeric supplements are nice, but red wine got me, and of course, dark chocolate. Specifically, I'm going to call it the Belgium chocolate.
There was this saw in, I think it was Kroger, and it was a dark chocolate with dried blueberries in it, and it was delightful and lovely. So if you ever find that one in Kroger, I highly recommend getting that one, because I found that one to be quite nice.
Well, that one, and it'll probably help you, get where you need to decrease your pain. When you're in pain, you also need to do some weird things. When I say weird things, treat the freaking pain as it is pain. I'm not talking about taking a handful of medicine, because you're probably already on a handful of medicine. But,
actually, I'm not anymore. Right. I've stopped taking ibuprofen. I very rarely took it, to be honest. Like, I'm one of those people that I'm just like, yes, I'm in pain, but is taking a handful of ibuprofen actually going to stop me from being in pain? Probably not, because what I have is bone on bone grinding sensations that are going through my body, and all of my nerves are being impinged on that. So ibuprofen's not going to stop that from hurting. Is it
Well,
going to stop
no.
like my muscles in my lower back from being as tight? Yeah, it will help with that, but it's not going to stop. It's not going to make me feel like I'm a spry 25-year-old.
Well, no, that's what, Xanaflex is for.
Like that, I thought you were going to say that's what Molly's for. Like, no.
No. No. But I do want to kind of talk about, this for a moment. Okay. So we supposedly, and I do not believe that we have an opioid epidemic. What we currently have is more so a drug cartel epidemic known as the pharmaceutical industry.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting. So it's been 2 years now. I started doing a few different things with my pain and managing my pain. One of them is actually lesser dose pain medicine, which makes no sense, but controlling the inflammation. Because if you get the inflammation down, then you get less pain from the bones and the joints. You have to get 8 hours sleep. You have to program your circadian rhythm to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yep. And, that can be very hard on the body for the first 6 months, but it'll actually benefit your pain levels much better than that.
Yeah, it will. Also, I've noticed, like, I've been working on managing, like, my stress and anxiety levels, and I definitely notice that the more stressed out I am, the more pain I have, or just like the more aware I am of it. I'm not quite sure if it actually increases, if I'm just becoming more aware of it. But I really do feel like the more stressed I am, or like the more stressful my environment is, the chances are that in the next day or so, I'm going to have a flare up because I am receiving all of that energy and then internalizing it some way. And then its way of escaping is just like warning me like, hey, we got a problem here. You got to let this go,
Right. And, that is a good method. Making sure to keep track of your pain is a good method. And, I will say this, and nurses hate me for it, but it's true. This pain scale thing, like earlier, when I seen Super Doc this week, and, his nurse is like, so what's your pain scale? And I'm like, well, which one are we going off of? Because if we're going off at mine, I'm at a 16 right now.
Yeah. I'm in
If we're
pain.
going off of yours, it's about a 4.
Right.
And she goes, well, what's yours normally at? And I says, oh, it's normally your scale. It's about a 2. Average is 10,
Yeah. Whereas it's like, where's your pain level at? And I'm like, they're saying, like, like the smiley faces, and it's like 10 says it completely interferes with your day-to-day activity. And I'm like, yes, it does. Yeah. It completely interferes with everything that I do. From the second I wake up in the morning and I realize I can't move because the amount of stiffness that's in my back is making it near impossible for me to walk to the bathroom. And then I have to spend the next 3 hours trying to get myself awake enough and loose enough so that I can do my stretches. Because if I do it when I'm too stiff, it's not going to work, and I'm just going to make myself more uncomfortable. So I have to wait till my body is ready and loose enough for me to help it stretch out more, whether that's using heat or just moving around for like 20-30 minutes in the morning, whatever that is. I can't just jump right into it. I have to be in a physical space where I'm ready to do that. And then if I'm able to do my stretches without screaming more than 5 times because I'm pushing myself to the point that something hurts, then I have to go about my day, and I have a 7-year-old, and I have a husband, and I have a cat, and I have a business that I have to run. So given all of that chaos that's going on, by the end of the day, I might not be able to walk without shuffling my feet a few inches in front of me. So yeah, it completely impedes on my day-to-day activities.
Oh yeah. And that's every day. But, also with it is realizing that, okay, so how do we improve this, and how do we talk to them? And what do we do? Like, today has been a couch day, a chair day for me. I'm not scrubbing my kitchen floor.
Right.
I'm not polishing the chandeliers today. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
And having that grace within yourself to go, okay, this is what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then managing expectations of yourself and of everyone else is highly, highly important. And giving yourself grace, which is a problematical thing in today's community.
And also, like, what your pain tolerance might be is completely different from what Joe's might be, what mine might be, what Gwen's might be. You know what I mean? It's like some people can break their finger and be completely fine. Like, yeah, it throbs, but I'm completely fine. Whereas if I broke my finger, I could be in absolute agony over it. It could really, 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 really hurt. Same injury, same finger, two completely different people, completely different experiences. Before I had my neck problem, I spent 3 years trying to convince doctors that I was in absolute physical agony, like to the point that I was wanting to take my own life. And they're like, oh, you're just suicidal and a mental mess. And I'm like, no, the pain is driving me to want to do that. It's that bad. And then they just labeled me a drug-seeking addict. And I was like, the morphine isn't helping the pain. I don't want the drugs. I want you to fix the problem. Tell me what the problem is and fix it so that I'm not living like this anymore, because my life and the quality of life that I have is non-existent. I'm at a 0.
Right.
And they didn't take me seriously. They were just like, you're just looking for drugs. And I'm like, they're not doing anything for me, doc. So no, I don't want the drugs. In fact, I have a shopping bag full of every prescription that you've ever given me for the past 6 months. You can have them back, because I haven't taken them because they didn't work.
Right. And see, here's the thing with that is they don't get that. Medical professionals, we gave you pills, you don't take them. No, I don't take them. Well, and, that's why, like, it took me 56 doctors, interviewed 56 doctors to find SuperDoc. And then at the same time, starting to modify my life. Now, I know you just said a minute ago, sometimes you use heat. Do you also use ice?
Yes, I do alternating heat. There are some days where I'm more ice than heat. There are some days where I'm more heat than ice, but I don't just solely rely on that. I turn off my heating blanket. I kind of, keep an eye on the time. I don't really ever go over like 20, 25 minutes. Or I'll just move it to another spot, on my body where I just, I'm feeling tense in my shoulders. I'll take the heating blanket and move it somewhere else. Right. And then I will do like sitting stretches, like where you're just seated and doing stretches after I've done that, just to help myself just that little bit more. But if I'm at what, like a 26 that day out of 20, you know what I mean? Like if I'm already exceeding what my like maximum is, no matter what I do that day, it doesn't matter if I take 1,000,000 hot showers and and take an ice plunge and take ibuprofen. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to be able to get a sense of relief until that flare up has come out of its like maximum state. You know what I mean?
Right. And then you've got the hangover state.
Oh yeah, the after crash.
Right.
Yeah, the exhaustion that comes with that.
Right.
That's a great thing.
Right. Yeah, that hangover state's real fun and real aggravative. And with that, that's when you got to push your fluids. That's when you got to go from 8 cups of water a day to 16 cups of water a day, because you got to flush those pain toxins.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we've reached our hour point.
We have.
My cup is empty, and I got to shuffle to the kitchen to get a refill.
I'm like, my cup is empty too, and I'm like, damn it, I really want another cup of tea now.
All right, guys. So we will see you next time. Bye.
Yes, we will. And for anybody else that's watching, keep an eye out for February 1st. I have another live show coming up. I'm guesting on another person's podcast, so keep a lookout on my page for this new upcoming.
Right. New upcoming thing. You there? You back? I think you are. For a second.
Yeah, I am. Sorry,
Bye,
your
darling.
audio cut out for a second.
So did you. Bye, guys.
Bye.